Good evening, everybody. So I wanted to talk a little bit about being on the radio again today. Once again, I was on Dennis Prager Show, which is always nice. I don't agree with everything Dennis says, but he was talking about this issue of should people who are non-believers pretend to be religious just because it's a better lifestyle, and we do have that. Going on in our community, people who are calling themselves orthoprax but not orthodox, and I personally, as I mentioned in the discussion, I'm worried about these ideas coming into our communities that are contrary to Torah ideas, specifically, when we talk about what I mentioned before, and I actually mentioned, the attacks on religious freedom that are going on in our communities are quite devastating. The attempts to close down the religious schools. But then I said, as a chaplain, I always say to the atheist, I asked, is it worthwhile to have these groups where people don't believe in God, but they recognize the importance of being ethical and moral, and things, and so they gather together somewhat in a church type of setting. I think they call them the Society for Ethical Culture, or things like that, where they get together and maybe they sing some songs like similar to singing hymns, and they do other, listen to somewhat a lecture similar to a sermon, an inspirational lecture, pretty much, similar to going to church, but it's for atheists. And I said, I always tell the inmates, I didn't mention I work in a prison, but I tell the people in my institution, if you want to volunteer to come in once a week and preach to you Bertrand Russell or something, and that's going to make you a better person, again, are they preaching anti-religious rhetoric? I mean, we don't stand for... I'll explain a little bit extra what I didn't say on the call. We don't stand for Christians putting down Muslims, or Muslims putting down Christians, and so forth. But so the same thing. We wouldn't stand for the atheists putting down religious people, but to teach ethics and morals from a secular standpoint, I don't have a problem with it. I'm not here to proselytize. And that, I think I got that out. But the one thing that I wanted to mention that we didn't have time for is just before a commercial break, is that there is a natural tendency for people to want to be religious. And, if you look at the Buddhists and the Sikhs, you have two examples of groups that started to really be the opposite of traditional religion, and now they are traditional religions, and so many of their religious practices, to the point where there was a guy I went to school with, and when I went to public school, and he was asking me about questions about, starting a 501c3, and I said, so what religion are you? And he said, well, I'm Sikh, but I'm not religious. And I wanted to say to him, I was like, you're probably more similar to what the Guru Nanak taught than the guys who wear the turbans and have long beards, It's almost like what we have in our traditions where, they'll say that if the Vilna Gaon was around today, he would probably feel more comfortable among the Hasidim than among the Litvaks. And I've heard some people say, but if the Baal Shem Tov was around today, he might feel more comfortable around the Litvaks than around the Hasidim. Or the same thing, the Samarov didn't want people like just being Hasidim, that just blindly follow a Rebbe. He was very against that. And to a certain extent, Satmar is turning into that, and that's not what it was. And I know they'll say that there's one Rebbe more than the other who does that, but the truth is, both of them have gone away from this aspect, to a certain extent, this aspect of what the Samarov taught, just because that's what people are looking for. And it's just natural. It's the same thing, So the Sikh religion began by saying, you don't eat food that's halal meat because it was sacrificed. They don't believe in sacrificing animals. They don't believe in fasting. They don't believe in making pilgrimages. Don't do all this religious stuff. Just be a good person, right? And believe in God and be a good person. And that was, essentially the Sikh ideology that the Guru Nanak taught, and then the later gurus introduced pretty much religious practices, with the 5Ks. And the same thing Buddhists, the same thing that the Buddha was teaching, obviously much earlier in history, but the Buddha was teaching, a pretty non-religious approach to spirituality, and yet certainly the what they call the small boat Buddhism, I think it's called Manayaha, I don't remember how it's pronounced, but that is a religion, as opposed to the Theravada Buddhism is maybe more, the small boat is the big boat is the religious one, and the small boat is the more philosophical one, right? And the reason for all this is because people just naturally are attracted to the trappings of religion, and so too, that's why, in these atheist communities, you have this desire, this jealousy of religion, and the thing is, I've seen Christians be jealous of Jews for having Shabbos, having Yom Tov, the way that we conduct ourselves. It's and the thing is, you can convert if you want to, But I remember someone told my wife, "Well, I don't get Shabbos." One of her good friends, "I don't get Shabbos. You get to have Shabbos. I don't get to have a Shabbos." I wish I. Even my father, kind of, felt the same way. Looking, he expressed that. May rest in peace. His. Somewhat, envy of what kind of spirituality Judaism has to offer, and also I think he felt very upset at the church. What do you call it? And similar things that Glenn Beck said on the radio, that he went to a Pesach Seder, and he was like, why don't we have ceremonies like this? The 4th of July, we should have a Seder for the 4th of July. It shouldn't just be, getting drunk and watching fireworks, and having a barbecue, whatever. There should be a Seder to Thanksgiving and to 4th of July and to Memorial Day and to Veterans Day. There should be a liturgy. There should be a ceremony. and I think I wanted to make a separate video about that, specifically about Thanksgiving. So, one thing that Mr. Prager said to me was, well, if someone was a non-believer, and a Jew, wouldn't you still encourage them to keep Shabbos? Just to have Shabbos, and the thing is that hopefully, though, it will lead to faith, But I do believe that faith should be first and foremost, and I recognize the Mishnah in Brachos, because I know this is always an argument philosophically about Judaism, which is more important, orthodoxy or orthopraxy. And I've always been a proponent that orthodoxy is more important than orthopraxy. Whereas most people would say, well then, why is most of the Rambam or most of Shulchan Aruch, most of Shas about orthodoxy and about orthopraxy, and so little of it is about orthodoxy? But the thing is that orthodoxy is the foundation. I think the Rambam certainly believed that, or at least he expressed that. Some people doubt if he actually believed it. I think he believed it. But these are the fundamentals. Doctrines are fundamental to our beliefs. And I saw... I mean, this is a Mishnah that I've learned my whole life, or, well, half of my life that I've been from, right? More than half of my life that I've been learning Torah at this point in my life. And it's a Mishnah that I've known for most of my life already. And only now did I have a shtickle of Chiddush when I saw it. I don't remember if it was in the Chag Yisrael or if it was... And there's a Mishnah, daily Mishnah from, I forgot the name of that website. It's the Yeshiva in Far Rockaway, and they do a lot of Ater Shimon, Yeshivas Ater Shimon. They have this great app where they give you a Mishnah and a Kapitel Tehillim to say, and like you finish the whole Shas Mishnayos every day, because like you're together with other people learning Mishnayos, or you finish the whole Tehillim. You have that schus of it's called Daily Siyum or Siyum Daily. It's a great app. I love it. I really, it gives me a lot of chizik to have that, to be part of a chabura like that. In addition to the fact that I also learn Mishnayos every day. And Mirz Hashem, pretty soon I'll be finishing Shas Mishnayos, God willing, within I think this week or next week. Which is something I've done a number of times in my life now, and it's something it gives me a lot of satisfaction. So the Mishnah in Brachos says, it asks, why do we say the paragraph of Shema before the paragraph of V'haya im Shemoah? And he says, the Mishnah says, Kedei shekabel of ol malchus shemayim techila v'achar kach ol hamitzvos. That first you have to accept the yoke of the kingdom of heaven before you accept the yoke of the commandments. So therefore, it would seem that our doctrines come first and foremost, and only subsequently do we have our devotions. And our devotions must be an expression of our doctrines, and, like we say, Bo Chavakuk, Amida Malachas. The very famous Gemara in Malchus, or Malchos, if you actually say it the right way, instead of the way the Hasidim say it. If you're more of a doing things accurately instead of traditionally. But it says Habakkuk came and established the Torah on one mitzvah. The righteous lives by his faith. Faith is the summary of all the 613. All the 613 are encapsulated in that one mitzvah, that one doctrine, that one commandment of faith, and that our devotions must be. Doctrines are part of our devotions, and that they are the foundation of our devotions. And if you have devotion without doctrine, I don't know what it is. So again, hopefully someone wakes up and gets better because they're living a good life, or maybe at least their kids will. So thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe, comment, and we'll see you all later. And be sure to hit that bell button so you can follow us more.